Hello and welcome to my second project. This one's called Interplanetary Feather of the Natives, which is a weird name, but it's sci-fi. Don't usually write much sci-fi. This one's about Native American spacemen, so enjoy.
Interplanetary Feather of the Natives. Here's a story for you fuckers. I'm gonna kill myself. The colonizers call me Wally Collins. You will now call me Hawk. You fuckers will never know. Never. It's been 2186 for 3 years now since Trump bought time. We have entered a new time, the monetary revolution. From mines in the mantle to tunnels shooting across the Pacific desert. We have it all. The wall prevented most of the South Americans getting into America. The ones that survived the flood ventured into the Andes because of the higher ground. We call them mountain men. They hunt for pelt in the wilderness. They refused to come down, even when the sea was drunk up. For you see, the Pacific was sold to colonies in Mars, the Moon, Io, and Titan as converted oxygen from water. When NASA's Curiosity rover on Pluto transmitted images of a pyramid, everyone lost their shit. The Scandinavian Union in Greenland instantly decided to send a team there, and through the cosmos they travelled for a year. Dates and times may differ due to Trump time. 2 were sent from America, and the Kingdom sent 1 too. The Danes stumbled up the grey mountain and looked down into the valley. A black matte pyramid, the size of Giza's largest, grasps the green clouds. Jesus Christ. Michael takes some time to compose himself. Are you getting this? Michael and his crew set up camp and became the first men to sleep on Pluto. He reminded his colleagues to keep on their visors, as they would freeze to death otherwise. All night they were plagued with nightmares, which in themselves were plagued with screams, cries, and endless pain. They waited for the Americans to arrive. The longer they waited, the more intense the nightmares got. One morning, Michael woke up to a feather drawn on the inside of his space helmet. They fled from the pyramid, building a camp 5 miles south of Black Rock. That night, Michael dreamt of the death of his babies and the rape of his wife. She smiled and looked straight into his eyes as it took place. He woke up gasping for air and peered out of his gold-covered tent. Rasmussen, the youngest of the 4 crew, lay dead bearing a switchblade slashed across his neck. When the Americans arrived, the Danes lay dead sprawled across the tough grey land. One of the tents shook. Upon unzipping, Michael was found shivering in fear, sleeping next to a dream catcher. Following a warm cup of brew and some celestial crackers, he warned them, "Get the 3D printer to make you dream catchers. They seem to work." No one dreamt. Michael loaded the dead onto the craft for their journey home whilst the Americans explored the structure. Ancient inscriptions laced the monument on every level. The calligraphy shimmering in the gold against the black background was decimated as the American worked his way through with a chainsaw. A piece falls clean off. The Americans scurry off with the piece. Just as the drone finishes its aerial shots across the structure, it was time for home. The second US party, the Kingdom's team, aborted mission as they passed by Jupiter. Pluto was warming and had become gaseous once again. They wondered where the pyramid would fall to. The grey surface withered in cosmic mist, slowly rising into gas. The pyramid was blessed with a plethora of green and violet vapour, which encompassed across the great plains of Pluto. By the time Michael's party of the dead arrived with the Americans, the year was still 2186. President Trump Jr. called for a conference to understand the meaning of this pyramid. A bear symbol was inscribed on the piece which was taken off. Trump watched in awe. "It's Native American," the council member of the mountain men walked out as he said this. "If any Arikara remains, they may be able to read it." Trump ordered the man to stay. The man smirks. The Scandinavian community found it hilariously ironic that the answer to interstellar travel lay within the American soil, not even a sign to indicate their graves. Native American spacemen. How much can a civilization learn from being isolated for 10,000 years? The Scandinavians convinced the world that this was an American investigation. They fucked it, so they fix it. And with that, the search begun for the last Re. I bleed for my ancestors. Our secrets will die with the wind. Nature and natives complement one another. Every tree felled, every river dried. My people were thought to be watching from the nether planes. Little did they know, they were watching from the stars. Do I want to know what this means? I'm sure I'll find out. by Wally Redhawk. The soldiers surrounded the house. They watched in horror. The blood flows from Wally's temple. At the next conference, Trump read the note. In a fit of fury, he throws it across the room. What do we do now? Who else can read it? The Scandinavian council members erupted into a fit of laughter, and the mountain man sat with a wide grin planted on his face.